buddies, and happy April. I can't believe that we are only 2 months away from being halfway through with 2024. It just amazes me. It's crazy. So today I'm going to share my books I've read in March. I got 8 books in, and for the most part I want to say I liked all of them. They were all really good. There weren't any that I really just didn't like. So the first book I read is An Ambitious Hope, which is part of the Hope Ever After series, 20-book series, which I'm so excited for. This one is actually a Red Riding Hood retelling, which I haven't read too many of those, so it was exciting to see the twist on the original fairy tale. It was pretty good. The main thing that I did not like about this, and this is purely just my preference, the story was very plot driven. It moved really quick, which usually I really enjoy that, but we didn't really get into the characters' heads at all, and I prefer character-driven stories where you get to know them some more. Other than that, I really did enjoy this, and I'm so excited for the rest of the series. The next book I read was Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, which was on a slave back during the Civil War in that era, and it was a really interesting read. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I'd read it before years ago. It was actually free on Kindle, and I liked it then, liked it now. My thoughts really haven't changed. It's just really an insightful read and something that I feel should be read. This is not something that we should try to cover up because it's a darker page of our history, but it's something that needs to be brought to light. I don't recommend it for younger readers because it is kind of graphic and things like that. So the author did not shy away from telling it like it was or sugarcoating the facts. It's very plain and raw, and it's an intense read, but it was very insightful. In this next one, Alien Abductions, I ended up just DNFing it. It's not because I didn't like it, but because I honestly forgot it was in my currently reading list until I went through and was downsizing, and it's like, oh yeah, I was reading that. So I'm just gonna just not finish it. It was interesting. It was, but it's not something I think I would continue reading. And not to say it was a bad book. It was, like I said, it was interesting. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Continuing with the Hope Ever After series, I read the second book, which is A Gentle Hope. It was really good. I gave it 4.5 out of 5, rounded up to 5 stars. It was a wholesome and sweet and just really good Beauty and the Beast retelling. What honestly made this for me was the villain. Like, the villain was so irksome. Like, just seeing his name on the page made me so mad because he was the perfect villain, and I loved to hate him. You know, it was really good, and I felt so much for our main character. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I just felt so bad for her because all she wanted to do was just find a family, not find a family, but be able to live with her family and be surrounded by those who loved her. And it just, like, every step of the way there was an obstacle. Was frustrating, but it was really good. The romance was so wholesome and sweet, and I feel like the theme of A Gentle Hope was perfect. It was just so good. I am rereading the Chronicles of Narnia this year. It's been really slow going. I think it was last month or the month before I read Magician's Nephew, and March I got to read Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe, which it was just good. 5 out of 5. It was perfect. I love this series so much. I do need to pick up the rest of the series and kind of speed it along because I'm just taking my good old sweet time apparently. This is an amazing series that if you have not tried yet, you really need to. Okay, book buddies, I have got myself into something that is not my usual genre, not my usual pickup, but I am hooked. And yeah, it all started with a movie. So I like to browse through the movies that are free on YouTube with ads, which, funny story, there are never any ads with the movies, which I'm not complaining. And one of them I watched is A Vampire's Assistant, and I was like, you know, cool, I'll check it out. Movie was really good, and like, it left me wanting more answers, and it ended in an obvious way where there's supposed to be more to the story. So I found out there's a 12-book series. So I put book 1, The Cirque du Freak, A Living Nightmare, on hold at my library, which I don't have the book with me. I already returned it. Already finished it. I actually ended up reading this in one night. It was just so good. Really creepy. It honestly is a little gross in parts, and there's mild language, and like I said, some grossness. There's some blood, scary images, and for example, a woman gets her arm bitten off by a wolf man, so Yeah, and if you do not like spiders and the idea of a spider crawling on you, then you want to skip this one. It's definitely not for the faint of heart because it is creepy and it is kind of like a mild horror thing. It's more like, I think, geared for like teens and preteens, but yeah, it's still kind of creepy for me. But I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and the movie and the book are equally good in their own way. Obviously, what I've read, the movie doesn't even cover like half of what actually happens in the story. So, but it is free on YouTube temporarily, like for right now. So if you are interested, you know, but be warned, there is language and of course some scary images. And yeah, but I enjoyed it. I traveled deep in the back rooms of my Kindle for this book right here, Vote for Murder. I've had this in my library since 2022 and finally read it, and it was interesting. It was a really good story, actually. The murder mystery was really interesting, and I think the author really did a good job of the point of view switches between the diary accounts and then going to Louisa and Sophia's story. But it was pretty good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I had a couple questions left that were not answered with the book, particularly one character. I would like to know what happened to her. There was some mild language that I did not like, and there were a lot of different characters, like background characters, that it was hard to keep up with who was who at times, especially when you start getting into like the actual whodunit of the mystery. That when names would pop up, it's like, okay, I've heard that name, but I'm trying to remember like how they're connected. And then like, so I had trouble keeping up as it was getting solved. But then when it finally clicked, I was like, oh, that was so good. And lastly, on March 31st, I actually finished the second book in the Cirque du Freak series, which is The Vampire's Assistant. Again, I already finished it and turned it in, so I don't have the book with me. But it was really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Again, it had some language. And but it was really spooky, and it centered more like on the Wolfman character, so that was creepy. And I am hooked, and I have book 3 waiting for me at my library, so I'm going to really enjoy reading that. They're so suspenseful and the pacing is awesome. It's one of those books where you just cannot put down, so I'm excited to read that. And I think when I go to pick up 3, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple more, that way I don't have to wait, because it's a really interesting series. And so that is what I read in March. Like I said, it was a really fun reading month, and I'm excited. April is so far so good. And yeah, so what did you read this month? And do you have any book recommendations to share? Have you read any of these I mentioned or plan to read? If you have, let me know your thoughts. And I don't know if I'll get to do 3 videos this month. I will try. But so far it's looking like just the regular 2. But I do have a very fun book challenge if I can get it ready in time. I'm super excited for it. So I think that will do it. I hope you enjoyed this, got a book recommendation out of it, and I will see you all again in a couple weeks. So until next time, happy reading!